Morning at NTV. Now, one of the conversations that keep making it into the national discourse, especially in this time of the election, is the economic empowerment of women, especially through entrepreneurship and other smallholder farmer interventions. Now, to speak to us about these and more, we have Sheila Kulubia from the World Bank, who joins us on Zoom, and Mr. Alex Asima, the Commissioner for Labour and Industrial Relations at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning, Andrew.
Good to have you, and good morning. Good morning, Mr. Simwe.
Good morning.
Now, this is a conversation. I'm very gratified in one way to have a woman to speak to us about this in the morning. Usually we have the men who speak about women issues and all that, but we have a woman on the other side. Now, let me start with you, Mr. Alex. Your commission and a commissioner that covers all the areas where some of the programs that cover women are running. What are some of the programs at hand that is government is using to support the women in their journey of economic empowerment?
Thank you. We have a number of programs being implemented by Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, but also there are other programs that are implemented by other ministries and agencies of government. But when you look at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, there are a number of good programs being implemented. One of them is the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program. And this gives seed capital and entrepreneurship skills to women and girls. And so far, we have over 130 women projects, 130 women and girls who have benefited from this program.
Okay.
We also have another...
Does it cover the entire nation?
Yes, it covers the entire nation.
And you said we have 130?
Over 130 women who have benefited from this program. We also have Uganda, you know it, the Youth Livelihood Program. Now, much as this is targeting youth, but also we have young women or girls who have benefited. And over 110,000 young women and girls have benefited from this program. Of recent, we have introduced a program of national apprenticeship and graduate volunteer scheme. It has just started, and this is basically to offer skills development to women and girls. And this is also another avenue of women economic empowerment.
Okay.
Then there is also a very important program that we do. As you know, Shamagaro, we are in charge of labor standards.
Indeed, you are.
And we know that there are women who are involved in the labor market. There are those who are working.
Oh, yes.
So what we do is to ensure that we enforce the standards, to ensure that the world of work is compliant with the gender aspects, with the gender issues.
Nice. Well, Commissioner, I think it's a little bit worrying for me. According to the statistical population of women by gender in 2020, Uganda stands at a population of 22.46 million women in this country. And of these, according to the first project, you said only 135 women have been impacted and they've seen the fruits of these programs that you're running. Does this worry you as a commissioner who is directly involved with the women, because the numbers are too low compared to the big number of the women in this country?
Well, I think what we need is to understand, number one, that we need to upscale these interventions in terms of funding. But also importantly, we needed to understand the context of the contribution of other sectors. Because yes, we need more resources for women who are in a business that they can access, for example, cheap capital, skills development. But we need to know that there are other interventions like operational wealth creation. We have interventions under Ministry of Education that are still offering services to Ugandans, and women and girls are benefiting. For example, when you look at the UPE, UCE, university, the
Scholarships
1.5,
and all.
absolutely. All that is aimed at ensuring that women and girls are able to access the services that they deserve. But what we need to really, really focus on is that how can we progressively improve these critical flagship programs in terms of injecting more resources.
Okay.
And as I think you've been following, recently, the president made a commitment to really increase the funding for Women Fund and Youth Fund. And I think this is the way to go. So whereas we have resources at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development specifically targeting women,
Yes.
there are also other interventions
From other
from
government
other,
entities.
yes, that women can access, from agriculture, from trade and industry, from local government. All these programs are there. But the central point is that since we recognize that women are the majority in this country, but also they are facing serious, challenges in terms of, yes, in terms of unemployment. They are more. In terms of those who have jobs, women do not have more jobs. They are not in employment than like men. They earn less. They are more in informal sector than men. But also, most importantly, when you look at unpaid care work, 80% are women.
Indeed.
So that means that we need these special or flagship programs targeting women and girls. And I think that's the conversation that we can take forward.
Okay. Thank you so much, Commissioner. I'll get back to you later. Sheila, you work with the World Bank, and in most cases, the project to support economic empowerment for the women and ladies done through the international finance corporations are done in partnership with government and other agencies. And you usually do these reports on those projects. How successful have these interventions been from your side?
Thank you so much, Andrew, for that question. So for the bank, we currently have about $2.8 billion in support to the government of Uganda. And this mainstreams economic empowerment of women throughout. But for this particular conversation that we are beginning with the Ministry of Gender, is to make sure that we build, our support to strengthen economic opportunities for women going forward, because we have been addressing this aspect in isolated ways through, for instance, improving education for women and girls. We have been providing health, to women. We have been making sure that we have roads that open up, markets to farmers, including women. We have, other opportunities, again, in terms of social assistance grant for women. But in this particular instance, we really want the focus to be particularly on how can we enhance economic opportunities for women, because we see that unlike any other group, women have been directly affected, perhaps more than men during this particular pandemic. Indeed, if you're a woman, you're nearly twice as likely as a man to lose your job as a result of the COVID-19. As Alex has said, women's caring responsibilities have risen by up to 30 to 40%. And yet, globally, we see that women actually contribute significantly to the GDP of the world, including Uganda. So we do believe that a focus on women will give them the opportunities to contribute in a more holistic and, a more targeted way to the economy of Uganda. If you educate a woman and you make sure that the woman has economic means, that has a multiplier effect across society, across the family. You will have more educated children, you will have better health care, better nutrition, better skills. And we believe that this is the key to ending extreme poverty and also creating more inclusive societies, including here in Uganda. So for us as the World Bank, women's economic empowerment is part of our human capital focus to make sure that we invest in people, including creating opportunities for women. And right now, we are very happy to see that the government has taken on this particular challenge and is working with other partners, including the World Bank, to make sure that we realize this
Okay.
in the new year.
Okay, Sheila, still with that, but then how do you measure the impact of all these projects you've said? I understand that you really love to invest in the people. The human capital is very key to the World Bank. Bring it closer. How do we assess the impact? How do we measure that?
So for the World Bank program that's ongoing currently is ending in 2021. And we will be able to measure that as we start the new program to inform our focus, including on women's economic empowerment. Okay. Part of the conversation that we're having with the ministry with this particular program that Alex is talking about is to make sure that we strengthen the data, including labor statistics, to show how many women are employed both in, informal and the sector. So we do recognize that there's still a gap in data, and this is one of the areas that we want to strengthen in our ongoing support with the ministry for this particular project. So we hope that at the end of this initiative, we should have some very, very good data to be even more targeted in our support to the government of Uganda.
Okay, thank you so much, Sheila. Hang in there. Let me get back to you, the commissioner here. Mr. Simwe, from where you stand as a commissioner, you've attributed a couple of successes to the engagement that has been made in one or the other. But what are some of the key challenges that are still hampering the women economic empowerment in this country?
I think one of the serious challenges that we encounter is the issue of mindset and, cultural practices that do not support the women, advancement in society. And that's why, if you recall, in one of the studies that was undertaken, Uganda Demographic Health, we still see women being harmed, being affected by violence, physical, psychosocial, sexual, and that's still that's a problem. We also witness very serious, teenage pregnancy. Young women should be, and young girls should be in school, children should be in school, but we see, an increase in teenage pregnancy. Now that's a very big problem, because then you have an issue of child labor that will emanate from that problem. You will also have another serious challenge that will come with low labor productivity and health related. We also see that at the end of the day, the issue of gender-based violence, it is still also a very serious, homes are supposed to be theaters of peace, of dialogue, but of recent, during COVID, we have seen gender-based violence, going up, and it has even forced the children get out of their homes, being on the streets. So these two challenges, the mindset, the gender-based violence, are the two critical ones that.
What is government doing about the mindset issue? Are we having programs that are rolled out to create awareness and sensitization to change that mindset on the grids we need?
Yes, you know that the National Development Plan 3 has a specific program of community mobilization and empowerment, and that has a serious, it has interventions on mindset change. and ensuring that those bad cultural practices that impede advancement of women to access economic opportunities, to access their rights, you know, either, you know, eliminated or controlled. So we have that, and the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is leading in that NDP3 program of community mobilization.
Coming back to you, Sheila, lastly, before I let you go, Sheila, if you can hear me. Sheila,
yes,
you
Andrew,
can hear me?
I can hear.
Okay, cool. So while you're finalizing this conversation, from your side as a woman who is at the core of these kind of projects, what do you think is the missing link to finally get Uganda on track in terms of economic empowerment of women?
Thank you so much, Andrew, for that particular question. I just want to pick up again on what Alex said about the gaps that, you know, are still remain to economically empower women. For instance, one of the aspects that we have been addressing in the World Bank program is making sure that women have access to productive assets like, you know, land. Under the Competitiveness and Enterprise Development Project, which is about 199 million, we have supported the government to register and issue over 500,000 new titles, and about 200 of these actually are to be issued to women because to be able to access, you know, credit facilities. So again, because of the social culture gender norms that hinder them from being able to own land or to pass on this land to the girls, that this is an area that we are investing very heavily as the bank. But there are also a few others that Alex has highlighted. We still think that education and health investments with, you know, specific focus on opportunities for girls to make sure that they are, you know, enrolled, that they complete school. You know, we currently have quite a high dropout of, you know, dropout rate between primary and secondary. So we want to address that to make sure that girls actually complete, that those that can go through tertiary have access to, you know, technical and vocational skills training. We want to make sure that women have access to good health, to make sure that their kids, you know, their babies are not stunted, that they're healthy, and that they can grow into the productive citizens that we, you know, we all aspire them to, you know, to become. So these are the three key areas: health, education, as well as economic opportunities, where we feel we can do more, and we are reaching out to other partners to join us in this particular effort. So but we do have high hopes that we will be able to get there.
Okay, thank you so much, Sheila. Commissioner, as you're finalizing this conversation, what opportunities are there in your ministry for the young women in this country or the women to tap into currently?
Yeah, number one is that you needed to know that the Women Fund is available, and please, you can access, you can visit our website, and you get the guidelines on how you can access it.
Commissioner, those who don't have internet, you understand our grid of internet penetration in this country. How best do we go to the sub-county level, to the parish level?
Absolutely, you can access, you can go to the sub-county level, even the LC1.
Okay.
Is aware of these programs because the forms emanate from
the
LC1s. We also have the Youth Livelihood Program. You know, still you can access information from the sub-county or the local council. We have started the Graduate Volunteer Scheme and National Apprenticeship Scheme, and still we have a system running. The Graduate Volunteer is for graduates, those who are there and you have no working opportunity. Please, you can take advantage by logging into the system. You can visit our website, the ministry. We also have programs, as you know, the SAGE, the Social Assistance Grants for Empowerment. That's for elderly. If you have a grandmother, you know, above 80 years, please, government committed to ensure that monthly gets, you know, some income, you know, to spend on essential services.
Okay.
So, and we also have externalization of labor.
Okay.
As you know, we have opened up the companies have started operations because
I want you to throw more light on that, because during COVID-19, I think a month ago, there was a lot of ongoing online rumor that the association that brings together all these companies that take people abroad for jobs, it was disbanded and it was paused and all that. So can people now be in position to apply for jobs abroad and they go?
Absolutely, and you have to go through the licensed companies, and you can also approach the association. It is functional. It was never disbanded, and these opportunities are there for those who really have the capacity, to work abroad. Because what the government is doing is really to facilitate a safe, migration and ensure that while you are abroad, you are able to work in good working conditions, but also save and remit your income.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Alex Asimwe. Sheila, while you're finalizing, what could be your last word to the women watching NTV this early morning with regards to economic empowerment? What's their call to action?
I think the call for action from our side is that women can, and we see that women are some of the most enterprising people. A lot of women have started businesses and have succeeded. A lot of women with economic means have been able to educate their children, provide better health and other opportunities. So this, for us, is an exciting opportunity, and we hope that the ministry will be able to work with other partners to reach out to as many women as possible to make sure that they benefit from this program that we are putting together. So again, just for the women out there, hang in there. We've got your back.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sheila. Thank you so much, Commissioner Asimwe. We'll take a break for now. It's still morning at NTV. We'll be back shortly.